Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Manchester United News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Sofyan Amrabat opens the door for permanent Man United stay. Moroccan midfielder Sofyan Amrabat has opened the door to staying with Manchester United beyond the current campaign. The 27-year-old joined the Red Devils from Fiorentina on loan for €10 million last summer, with an option to buy for €20 million plus €5 million in add-ons. Amrabat barely featured for the club between January and April this year, but he was a regular starter during the final weeks of the season. After three consecutive starts, the midfielder was rewarded with a starting role in the FA Cup final, where he was one of the standout performers. Speaking after the game to Ziggo Sport, Amrabat said that he does not know where he will be next season, but opened the door to staying at United. He said, "Do I already know what I'm going to do next year? No, we are going to talk. Staying is certainly an option. Look, I think it has been a very difficult season. For Manchester United, it needs to be much better, and also for me personally, we are going to talk. Manchester United are the biggest club in the world, so who wouldn't want to play football here? But all parties have to be happy with each other, so we will sit down now and see what happens." Amrabat started the season as a regular from the left-back position due to the injury crisis. He then moved into defensive midfield but struggled to cope with the league's intensity. With Casemiro's comeback from injury, Amrabat barely played after his return from the Africa Cup of Nations, but he finally got his chance to impress in the lead-up to the FA Cup final. Amrabat had two good outings against Arsenal and Newcastle United before a tough one at Brighton and Hove Albion. Despite this, he got the nod for the Manchester derby on Saturday. Amrabat is also attracting interest from Crystal Palace and Fulham, according to The Sun. Aaron Wan-Bissaka deserves a new contract after a splendid FA Cup final display. Manchester United right-back Aaron Wan-Bissaka delivered a splendid performance during the 2-1 win over Manchester City in the FA Cup final on Saturday. The 26-year-old's future has been a regular topic of discussion in recent months. His current contract expires in June next year, which has led to speculation that he could be sold this summer. However, this could change on the back of his fantastic display at Wembley Stadium. Wan-Bissaka is one of the best right-backs in one-on-one situations. He showed his class by keeping Jeremy Doku at bay for most of the second half. The Belgian managed just one key pass into the box for Phil Foden, who fumbled his effort. His goal from outside the box was due to an Andre Onana error. Over 90 minutes, Wan-Bissaka registered two successful tackles alongside three interceptions. He blocked two shots while making four clearances and winning three duels. The Crystal Palace graduate also made three recoveries. His performance was reminiscent of the one against Newcastle United in the Carabao Cup final last season. Wan-Bissaka is currently one of United's lowest earners at £90,000 per week. The hierarchy should keep him with a new long-term deal. Diogo Dalot could return to right-back next term when the left-back injury crisis is sorted, but Wan-Bissaka would be a handy backup with his strong defensive skills. Obviously, the final decision could also depend on the player. If Wan-Bissaka is not prepared to accept a reduced role, he could be sold during the next transfer window. Veteran Manchester United defender gives verdict on Erik Ten Hag's future following FA Cup final win. Veteran Manchester United defender Johnny Evans has given his backing to manager Erik Ten Hag. The Red Devils shocked rivals Manchester City with a 2-1 win in Saturday's FA Cup final at Wembley, with Evans coming off the bench for the final 17 minutes of the match. Despite only signings as depth after initially training with Man United following his exit from Leicester City last summer, Saturday marked the 30th appearance of the season across all competitions for Evans. Now 36, it remains unclear whether or not Evans will continue playing beyond the summer, whether that be for Man United or another club. However, one man he hopes does remain at Old Trafford is Ten Hag, whose future remains under intense scrutiny despite delivering two major trophies in 2 years at the helm. Evans said the following: I don't know, you will have to ask everyone that. The 106-time Northern Ireland international added, I think on a personal level he's been amazing for me. I can only thank him for that. I have a good relationship with him, so I hope he stays. Since I came back in the summer, he's had no problems putting me in and trusting in me. You want that from the manager to show that trust and belief in you. He did that. Like I said, I have had 30 games now, so I'm buzzing. The further on in your career you get, you cherish moments like this a lot more. I enjoyed coming on, seeing out the game, and obviously the celebrations afterwards. I don't know what comes next. We'll see what the club says over the next couple of weeks. Man United have held talks with the representatives of Brentford manager Thomas Frank. Manchester United have held discussions with the representatives of Brentford manager Thomas Frank, according to the Telegraph. The Red Devils registered an impressive 2-1 win over Manchester City in the FA Cup final, but there is still uncertainty over manager Erik ten Hag's future. The club are likely to assess the Dutchman's position in a season review this week, but it's claimed that he is at serious risk of being dismissed from his role. The Telegraph now report that the club have made contact with the agents of Frank as they continue to explore their options ahead of a final decision on Ten Hag. Ten Hag had a difficult 23-24 campaign amid numerous defensive injuries. He had to constantly change his central defensive combination over the whole season. As a result, the club ended up 8th in the top flight with 60 points, but they managed to salvage their season by outsmarting Manchester City in the FA Cup final. The Red Devils have now won silverware for 2 years on the bounce. They are also guaranteed to play in the Europa League group stage after the Wembley triumph. In our view, the result should work in Ten Hag's favor. The hierarchy should decide to keep him. Frank has done a credible job at Brentford with a tight transfer budget, but we don't believe it would be a forward step, considering his squad rely more on counter-attacks. The 50-year-old may be on United's managerial shortlist, but a change would disrupt continuity. Ten Hag deserves another year at the helm to improve the club's league fortunes. Man United make contact with Mauricio Pochettino's representatives whilst they decide Erik ten Hag's future. Manchester United have held talks with Mauricio Pochettino's representatives, according to reports, with the club sounding out potential replacement whilst they decide on Erik ten Hag's future. Despite guiding United to the FA Cup final on Saturday, the Dutchman has been under severe pressure following a campaign which saw the Red Devils finish 8th and bottom of their Champions League group. It's believed the United hierarchy will carry out an end-of-season review next week, which will determine the future of the 54-year-old who has won 2 trophies in 2 seasons at Old Trafford. It was reported United made contact with the representatives of Ipswich boss Kieran McKenna on Thursday, with the 30-year-old a man in demand, having guided the Tractor Boys to back-to-back promotions from League One to the Premier League. The Telegraph have now reported that since then United have made contact with people from Pochettino's camp, as well as from Thomas Frank's. Pochettino is freshly out of work, having left Chelsea by mutual consent on Tuesday following just 1 season at the club, and he was linked with the United job 2 years ago before they appointed Ten Hag. If United do part ways with Ten Hag, they are likely to be appointing their next manager from the same pool as Chelsea, with the Blues also interested in the services of McKenna and Frank. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have a big decision to make ahead of their first transfer window since assuming control of footballing operations at Old Trafford, with there set to be a lot of change this summer. Man United to switch attention to Mark Guehi if Jared Branthwaite pursuit is unsuccessful. Manchester United will try to sign Mark Guehi this summer if their pursuit of Jarrad Branthwaite is unsuccessful, according to reports. United ended a tough season on a high as they beat rivals Manchester City 2-1 at Wembley on Saturday to win the FA Cup for the first time since 2016. It's set to be a busy summer with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos likely to reinforce a squad which finished a lowly 8th in the Premier League, and centre-back is expected to be an area targeted. Rafael Varane played his final game for the club at Wembley and will now depart, whilst there are question marks over the futures of Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Johnny Evans. The Red Devils have been decimated by injuries, particularly at the back this season, and have had to play Casemiro there at times, which hasn't worked well. Give Me Sport report that United will look to target Crystal Palace defender Guehi if it proves too difficult to prize Branthwaite away from Everton, with the Eagles believed to value their captain at £60 million, which is thought to be at the top end of United's budget. The report adds United would try and reach a compromise with Palace over a fee, as they want to have money left over to invest in other areas of the squad, but Branthwaite remains their main target following his impressive performances for the Toffees. Give Me Sports state United believe they can secure the services of the 21-year-old for £50 million, but they have put a backup plan in place in case Everton aren't prepared to budge on their valuation. Guehi has had an injury-disrupted season, which has limited him to 29 appearances, whilst Branthwaite has been a regular for Everton, making 35 Premier League appearances, scoring 3 goals. I will be uploading daily Man United news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.